Today we have the new 3rd generation Yonex Astrox 88S and 88D. If you thought that these just had a new paint job, then you guys are in for a treat. And if you're still not sure which one you want, make sure you watch until the end of this video as I'll talk through the main design differences that contribute to how they're catered to different styles of play. Throughout this video, I'll mostly be talking about the Pro versions of both the 88S and 88D, but I do have here with me the Tour and Game versions, which I also tested out that proved to be very similar, just more budget friendly. My name is Howard. I'm an Olympic badminton player. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any of my newest videos. I gotta tell you guys, I was pretty excited when I got my hands on these because I actually played the 1st generation Astrox 88D back in 2018 to 2019 and quite liked that model. I ended up going back to the Arc Saber series, but as soon as I got my hands on these, I quickly noticed the upgrades right away. I'm really liking the color schemes on both of these rackets. They're both rocking mostly black and silver with some turquoise accents and lettering. At first glance, they look extremely similar, but if you take a closer look, the colors are actually exactly mirrored on the 88S versus the 88D. That's because the marketing message for these two models is that they're complementary to each other for doubles players, with the 88S built for front and mid-court players and the 88D for backcourt players. That's why you might have even seen some of Yonex's recent promo of the two rackets intertwined with each other. Now you might be wondering, then how do I tell the difference between the two just by looking at them? There's two easy ways to differentiate between the 88S Pro and the 88D Pro. The first way to tell is that the 88S has a glossy silver T-joint area, while the 88D has a matte black T-joint area. The second way to tell is that the 88S has the glossy painted shaft, while the 88D has the matte painted shaft. You'll also notice that the factory grips for the 88Ds are all white, while the factory grips for all of the 88Ss are all going to be black. This also pertains to all of the Tour and Game models. The exception is the Lone Play model, which will not have separate S and D versions. There's only going to be one Astrox 88 Play model, which interestingly enough looks more like the 88D with the black T-joint and the white factory grip. Now moving on to the actual design and technology in these two rackets. The first symbol that you'll see along the shaft that is completely new is this 2G NAMD Flex Force material. This is the 2nd generation graphite material that, according to Yonex, helps the frame snap back more effectively and faster during impact to generate continuous explosive shots. And these Astrox 88S and 88D Pros are the first of Yonex's newest rackets to be composed of this new material. At the top of the racket, you'll also see the newest Power Assist bumper. The concept here is the same as other rackets where it adds weight to the top of the frame. However, it does look different compared to the other Power Assist bumpers. You'll notice that it's much smoother and seamless. It's much more rounded and there's no gaps where it fits in with the frame of the racket. This design makes the racket more aerodynamic because the bumper is less protruding and it's not as prone to air resistance during your swings. This added weight on the top of the frame, along with weight distribution in the T-joint and also the very bottom of the grip area, create the new and improved rotational generator system. Although this is still a head-heavy racket, the theory here is that with this type of counterbalance weight distribution, the racket is able to snap back easily so that you can transition smoothly into your next shot. Although this is the 3rd generation Astrox 88, Yonex is continuing on with their design concept of these rackets, with the 88S catering to front court attacking play, while the 88D is catering towards backcourt attacking play. That's what leads us to the next design differences between the 88S and the 88D. First being the frame head size. The 88S has a slightly larger head frame since it's meant for front and mid-court attacking players that require more hold time on quick shots, while the 88D has a smaller racket head, meaning a more concentrated and smaller sweet spot for backcourt power hitters. When it comes to shaft thickness, the 88S has a thicker shaft called the Super Slim shaft, which measures about 7 millimeters in thickness, while the 88D has the Ultra Slim shaft that measures 6.7 millimeters in thickness. Not only is the shaft of the 88D thinner, but it also has the added 10mm length, while the 88S only has the added 5mm length. So just to summarize really quick, the 88S has a shorter and thicker shaft, but larger frame head, while the 88D has the extra long, thinnest shaft with the smaller head frame. Before I talk about my personal opinion on these rackets, let's set the stage a little. If you're new to the Astrox 88 series, there's two important things to know. Number one, the Astrox family of rackets are all head-heavy rackets designed for aggressive, attacking play. Number two, the 88 series is actually designed for doubles players. However, by all means doesn't mean that you won't like this as a singles player. We're already seeing a few of the top singles players playing this new 88D Pro on tour, like Kunlavut Vititsarn from Thailand. Now I can tell you that the design differences that we talked about earlier translate exactly to how I expected them to feel. The 88S with the shorter and thicker shaft definitely felt fast and firm in terms of short swings, meaning drives, cutoffs, blocks, pushes. The racket control handles extremely well due to the larger frame for front court players. The 88S felt more responsive on the shorter strokes and swings. Although it is still a racket meant for front court attack, it did also feel better for my defense and defensive drives, also because of the larger head frame. You'll have less mishits and a larger sweet spot that is just more forgiving. Basically everything aside from overhead shots. The shorter shaft made it feel more responsive and firm on all of the short strokes. However, now the 88D on the other hand felt much better for all of my overhead shots like clears, smashes, overhead drops. The longer and thinner shaft just made my follow-throughs much faster and seamless. And obviously the smaller head frame with the smaller sweet spot also made the overhead power shots feel that much better. Although I will have to remind you that with the smaller head frame does take a lot of adjustments. Similar to when I was first testing out the NanoFlare 1000Z, which also had a smaller sweet spot, I would get the occasional mishit, especially as I was still trying to dial in my feeling. But when connecting on a solid, clean hit, it felt super nice. Overall, I personally like the 88D more than the 88S because of the extra length in the racket shaft, the thinner shaft, and the smaller head frame size. As a singles player, the 88D just felt more comfortable because of all of the overhead shots and longer strokes with follow through that I need to play. If I were to guess, I would probably say that we won't be seeing too many singles players using the 88S. However, I would probably expect to see more singles players using the 88D. While for doubles, you can't really go wrong with either. It really comes down to whether you're looking for quicker and firm short strokes in the 88S or more snappy power shots in the 88D. The suggested retail price on both the new 88S Pro and the 88D Pro is going to be about $260 US. And as far as weight and grip options, both will be available in 3U and 4U weighted versions. The 3U will have G4, G5, and G6 grip options, and the 4U is only going to have G5 and G6 grip options. Both the 88S Pro and the 88D Pro are set to launch worldwide on March 22nd, along with the game, tour, and play versions. Like I mentioned earlier, for the most budget-friendly play version, there's only going to be one racket with no S and D distinctions. Now this is a pretty exciting release because Yonex even released their new 2024 Pro Tournament bags in matching colors. So if you want to have the full black, silver, and turquoise color scheme for your set, you can check out the 6-piece racket bag, the rectangular bag, and also their Pro backpack. As far as string pairing recommendations, Yonex recommends pairing the 88S with Aerobite Boost for hard hitters and regular Aerobite for control players, while for the 88D, Yonex recommends X-Bolt 68 for the hard hitters and regular Aerobite for the control players. Again, these are just recommendations and ultimately it's up to you to decide what you like for your personal preference as far as likings for strings as well as tension. That's all that I have for you guys today. If you found this review helpful, please make sure you hit that like button for me, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments below if you guys have any other questions about these new 3rd generation Astrox 88s, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.